I'm going to start with something most men won't admit out loud. Most men don't actually fear intimacy itself. They fear that specific moment when they express interest and the woman pulls back, turns cold, or says something that instantly kills the entire vibe. But what if the entire framework you've been operating from is backwards? What if there's a way to create conditions where intimacy happens naturally, without sounding desperate, without applying pressure, and without facing that hard rejection most men dread? Today on the Stoic Flame, we are decoding the female psychology of desire to understand how women emotionally decide when they are ready, and how you can facilitate that process through genuine connection rather than force. The foundational truth most men miss is this: women don't reject intimacy as a concept, they reject the emotional experience attached to it in that specific moment. If the atmosphere feels pressured or unsafe, the answer is a no from the nervous system, regardless of attraction. But if it feels right, the answer comes almost automatically. Women experience desire on a completely different timeline than men. For men, attraction is often visual and immediate. For women, it is layered and contextual. It builds through emotional experiences, anticipation, and the story her mind creates about who you are. This requires a shift in your mindset from being a hunter to being a gardener, creating the soil where desire can actually grow. The first principle you must master is to never create a direct transaction. Do not ask for intimacy as if it requires explicit, verbal approval in a binary yes or no way. Direct questions create conscious decision points, and decision points create pressure. Pressure creates resistance. Instead, shift the frame from a transaction to a natural flow. When a woman feels like the decision is genuinely hers, she rarely rejects it because she is simply following her own desire. Think of high-pressure sales tactics. The moment you feel pushed, you pull back. The same applies here. You must speak to her emotional system, not her analytical mind, because the analytical mind is where doubt and safety checks reside. To facilitate this flow, you must actively turn on the three emotional switches: safety, trust, and anticipation. Women say yes when all three are active. Safety means she feels you won't judge her or pressure her. This is created through your emotional stability and groundedness. Trust builds when your words match your actions, when you respect her boundaries without making her feel guilty. Anticipation is the chemical magic created through restraint. Most men rush to the finish line, which kills the tension. The Stoic man knows that the space between what is and what could be is where desire becomes electric. A powerful, counterintuitive method is strategic withdrawal. Instead of constantly leaning in, occasionally lean back and create space. This isn't a game or a punishment. It's a demonstration that you are comfortable with the connection developing at its own pace. This removes pressure from her nervous system instantly and creates a vacuum that she will often fill by leaning in herself. When intimacy becomes her idea, rejection disappears. Similarly, you should plant thoughts rather than making requests. Use suggestive statements like, "It's surprisingly easy to be close to you." You aren't asking for anything, but you are planting seeds of connection that her own imagination will water. The core of this entire approach is holding what I call masculine calm. This isn't about being a robot. It's about being a man who is fully present, comfortable in the moment, and genuinely not anxious about the outcome. When you are grounded and unhurried, her guard drops organically. She relaxes into her feminine energy, which is exactly where openness lives. If you reach a point where you want to move things forward, ask about her feelings, not her decisions. Instead of, "Do you want to go to my place?" ask, "Does this feel like it's moving too fast for you?" This gives her emotional agency. If she says it is too fast, you haven't been rejected. You've been given information. By respecting that no, you actually build the yes for later. You must also mirror her desire. A woman decides based on how much she feels you want her while you still maintain your composure. If she leans in, you lean in. If she holds eye contact, you hold it. This calibrated desire creates an energetic alignment that signals safety and mutual understanding. This mirroring tells her nervous system that you are in sync and on the same wavelength. It creates a feedback loop where attraction escalates without either party feeling like they are pushing the other. As you move closer, make it the moment's idea, not your agenda. Women follow emotions, and emotions live in the present. Instead of a goal-oriented request, acknowledge the shared experience. This feels really nice right now. By naming the moment, you move the focus away from your want and onto the feeling you are both sharing. This makes the progression feel authentic and organic rather than calculated. You aren't a man with a plan. You are a man experiencing a beautiful reality. Furthermore, understand the principle of priming. The words you use throughout an evening subtly color her experience. By using words like comfortable, natural, connection, and closeness, you are helping her mind focus on those specific feelings. You aren't manipulating. You are helping her become consciously aware of the positive emotions she is already feeling. When you articulate these feelings accurately, she feels understood, and that alignment is magnetic. Finally, remember that your greatest strength is your ability to remain unbothered. A man who can handle a not yet or a let's slow down with a smile and genuine respect is a man who is incredibly rare. That lack of reactivity proves your high value. It proves that you don't need the intimacy to validate your ego. Ironically, the less you need it, the more she will want to give it to you. You are building a soul carved through discipline, and that depth is what truly pulls her in. When you bring these principles together, avoiding transactions, activating safety, using strategic withdrawal, and holding masculine calm, you are working with human nature to create a space where genuine desire can emerge. You are being the kind of man whose presence makes a woman feel safe, seen, and alive. When that happens, intimacy isn't something you have to ask for, it's the natural conclusion of a shared journey. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and stay stoic.